So Gains versus Arnold when? Great question, Kiss of Steel. Here's how that would go. What would happen if APGAINS played Arnold in GAC? An interesting question. One that scholars have theorized. The number 1 and number 2 most viewed Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes creators facing off against each other in GAC. Who would win? Well, it depends. It depends greatly. If we use both of our own accounts, obviously he'd win. He has 8 more million galactic power than I do. If we used equal counts, it would depend very much so on the accounts that we had. If we used anything under 5 million GP, I feel like I like my chances a lot more. Anything over, I would probably get my absolute ass handed to me, because Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, unlike popular opinion, is split very much so into 2 completely separate games. 2 completely separate games, right? There's where most players are, and then there's the end game. The end game, when I describe this on the Patreon podcast quite frequently every time we have guests, the end game is more of an intellectual man's game, a game of chess, a game of strategy, a game of modding and placing strategy and knowing your opponent's history and effectively utilizing counters and theory crafting and all this other stuff. The end game is very much so chess, where it comes down to the individual skill of each of the players facing off against each other, right? For the rest of the game, it's a game of chess where neither player has the same pieces. Some people may have 30 pawns and 1 queen. One person might have 7 queens and no pawns. It's very, very uneven, right? For 90, probably I'd say around 90% of the player base, Galaxy of Heroes is not a game of chess. So they're developing a different skill. A skill that is all that I talk about on the channel is how do I effectively farm up my roster? How do I effectively off-meta all this stuff, because I don't have all the tools. So when we play down in that game, I feel like I just have way more experience. I'd probably win. But if we get into the deep, high-end, analytical chess gameplay that is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes at the end game, there's absolutely no way that I could beat Arnold. We played 1,000 Grand Arena matches. I would win 0 of them. Maybe I would almost win the 1,000th one, because at that point I would have 1,000 times to practice, and maybe I'd be able to pull off some strat. But if we played with all of the same characters on maxed out accounts, there is literally a 0% chance. Like in sports, there's this term, the puncher's chance, right? In boxing, where no matter how bad you are, if you land that one good hit and they're not expecting it, you always have a puncher's chance of winning, right? You can never really count out anyone. Well, in this, I'd say there is absolutely 0 puncher's chance. There is absolutely no way that I could beat him if we played with accounts that are under or over like 5 or 6 million GP. Absolutely no chance. Now, if we played on 1 million GP accounts, you best believe APGAINS is coming home with that trophy. 2 million, same thing. 3, 4, 5, it gets a little disputed. But anything above 6, there's absolutely no way. I would get absolutely shit on. Not even close.